Are you emotionally intelligent? What is emotional intelligence and how important is it? My name is Jesse Hawkins, and if you haven't figured it out yet, we're talking about emotional intelligence today. Emotional intelligence is one of the most challenging and important skills to work on. Let's face it, we live in a society where people easily take offense, and frankly, people walk around as if it's the responsibility of others to constantly be aware and monitor their emotional state. Lack of emotional intelligence has led to broken homes, depression, abusing legal and illegal substances, eating disorders, self-destructive behaviors such as using vices like sex, screens, or even work, and so many others to temporarily alleviate and distract people from the stress and anxiety that is carried day after day, all because of the inability to regulate their emotions. When someone lacks emotional intelligence, they typically experience the most extreme ends of the emotion. Essentially, they go from 0 to 100 real quick. One moment they're good, the next they're throwing chairs and cussing people out. One moment they're inspired and motivated, ready to take on the world, and the next they're uninspired, tired, and depressed. If you were to ask them to explain their actions, they typically will blame external factors such as another person or an event to explain their behavior. They most likely didn't consider the outcome they truly desired before reacting. When someone is easily offended, defensive, manipulative, or easily manipulated even, and uses tactics like stonewalling, gaslighting, or showing the inability to understand someone else's perspective, these are all signs that someone is lacking emotional intelligence. Now, when someone has emotional intelligence, they may be described as a very level-headed person. They can sometimes make the best leaders, friends, and partners. They typically are really good listeners. You'll even notice that they ask really good questions and attempt to understand the perspective of others versus listening to respond and share their own perspectives quickly. They typically don't operate at the extreme ends of an emotion, although no one is perfect. You may notice that they do take their time and speak a little bit slower and think before they respond more frequently than others. And these are just some of the ways I've recognized the emotional intelligence or lack thereof in myself and others. I actually used to consider myself a very emotional intelligent guy, but I was pretty ignorant to exactly what that meant. Lack of emotional intelligence has affected every area of my life, my relationships, finances, spirituality, health. And what I realized is that lack of emotional intelligence has led me to make decisions that were completely out of character more times than not. So I'm working on becoming more emotionally intelligent, and I want to make sure that I share what I've learned with you guys thus far. Now, in this video, we're going to cover many different aspects of emotional intelligence. What emotional intelligence is, if it's something that can be learned, or is it something that we're born with? What's the importance and what's the role of emotions? What it looks like when someone has and when someone is lacking emotional intelligence. And we'll even cover some tools that will help you improve your emotional intelligence level. So let's get to it. So first, what is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is the ability to be aware, to understand, and the ability to respond to our and other people's emotions in a rational way. For those of us born in the 1900s, we may call this acting like we got some common sense or acting like we got some home training. Now, these type of statements definitely taught us some form of self-control, but there was a problem there. It didn't thoroughly teach us how to analyze, manage, or communicate our emotions in an effective way. I know this led me personally to suppress my emotions and ignore them until my adult years. So it's fair to say that I got a lot of work to do. But let's take a quick step back for a moment and just quickly talk about what emotions are. Emotions are not just reactions and ways of describing how we feel. They're reflections of how we see the world and ourselves. They really are a gift from God that help us to experience the pleasures of life, appreciate the time we have to experience them, and allow us to connect, understand, and empathize with others on a deeper level. Not too long ago, I was actually talking with a few different people about the story of Mary, Martha, and Jesus before he rose Lazarus from the dead. And what really tripped me up was how Jesus actually began to cry with Mary and Martha when he arrived to Lazarus' tomb. Now, I have a feeling he knew what he could and would do as far as raising him from the dead, yet before he did that, he chose to cry with them first. He fully embraced the opportunity to connect with them on an emotional level. Now, personally, I would have told them to stop crying and check out what I was about to do. But he had the wisdom, the knowledge, and the understanding to see that the emotions were a moment that were so important, that were so vital and precious. He chose to experience them and empathize with them first. Many people think that emotional intelligence is just about staying calm and having control over their actions and not reacting in a socially unaccepted way. But that can actually lead to avoidance and the suppression of our emotions. Over time, it will build up and we can turn into some little ticking time bombs ready to explode at the worst possible moment. Emotional intelligence is really about being aware of our emotions, understanding the triggers, the causes, and what led us to feeling the way that we feel. It's understanding how our emotions affect ourselves and others. It gives us the ability to empathize, connect, and to reveal our true passions, values, desires, and motives. As I've learned more about emotional intelligence, here actually are a few things I've heard that are simply just not true. 1. Emotional intelligence shows weakness. 2. It's for women. 3. Women are more emotionally intelligent than men. 4. It's something that you have to be born with. 5. Emotional intelligent people are always in a good mood. 6. It isn't needed to be successful. Now, first off, emotional intelligence does not show weakness. It shows absolute strength. As I mentioned, Jesus himself was capable of displaying a very high level of emotional intelligence, and I don't think anyone would categorize him as weak. Now, for those of you that may not connect with that example, I encourage you to check out the book Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. In this book, Chris Voss discusses the importance of emotional intelligence for high-stakes negotiations. It is his emotional intelligence level that allowed him to negotiate with some of the most dangerous individuals and ultimately resolve dangerous situations without the use of any physical force. Secondly, no one was born with emotional intelligence. It is 100% a learned skill. Some people may learn it faster and some people may learn it sooner in life, but when we're born, we all use irrational actions to communicate our needs and emotions. When we were feeling hungry, lonely, sad, upset, or disappointed, what did we do? We cried, we threw tantrums, objects, yelled, and screamed our little heads off, right? Until someone came along and showed us that this behavior was unacceptable and didn't get us the results that we were looking for. So we had to learn how to manage what we were feeling and what we wanted and figure out the best way to communicate that without sabotaging ourselves or pissing someone else off. As we get older, we enter into more sophisticated relationships and then learn the importance of being aware of other people's emotions as well, how our emotions affect them and how theirs affects us. Understanding how to navigate these type of sophisticated relationships successfully really will increase your emotional intelligence level like nothing else. So it's an absolute skill that 100% can be learned. I've actually found that there are 5 key attributes that need to be known in order to improve your emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, self-control, and relationship management. So self-awareness is about understanding the emotions as they happen, recognizing when they're triggered and the initial response as well as our desired response. Self-management is about managing those emotions, understanding what to do and what steps to take to get the best result. Social awareness is about realizing how our emotions affects us and the people around us, realizing when we're starting to make people feel awkward and uncomfortable. Self-control is the ability to react according to the beliefs and values we have, showing the strength to uphold our character and treat others the way we wish to be treated and not reacting in a fight or flight response. Relationship management is about resolving conflict, handling interactions smoothly, and empathizing with those that we're in a relationship with while building strong bonds. It's being able to put yourself in the shoes of others and seeing things from their perspective before you respond, as well as managing the relationship we have with ourselves and the internal conversations we have, which oftentimes can be more brutal than the ones we're having externally. So when you have these 5 attributes and you fully understand them, you can really begin to work on and improve your emotional intelligence. Now, if you're finding this information useful and you really like to get more information on personal development and living a victorious life, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. That way we can continue growing together. Once you desire to improve your emotional intelligence, one of the first things you have to do is start noticing the signs of becoming emotionally triggered. When you become emotionally triggered, there are certain physical and mental reactions that you can begin to recognize, such as increased heart rates, tension or stress in the body, reoccurring negative thoughts and hurtful memories. When in a conversation, you may actually realize you're thinking about what to say next instead of trying to fully understand what the other person is telling you. You'll start responding quickly, and the volume you're speaking with becomes more aggressive and defensive. Noticing these signs can actually be used as a cue for you to take a step back and recollect yourself. Once you do this, you can work on becoming more emotionally intelligent. To become more emotionally intelligent, I really like to use the REPS framework: recognize, enlighten, plan, and strike. First, you have to recognize that you can make a decision to change and grow. Recognize the opportunities you have to improve your life by growing your emotional intelligence. Identify the emotions that you struggle with the most. Next, you want to enlighten. Enlighten yourself and learn more about the situation, and ask yourself if there were boundaries that have been crossed. You can ask for constructive criticism and seek advice from friends, family, or mentors that you consider having a higher emotional intelligence level. I highly suggest incorporating prayer, meditation, and journaling, so that way you're able to capture, disconnect, and analyze your emotions at a later time when you're in a more objective state and you understand what your desired outcome is. Next, you want to plan. Create a plan to diffuse intense emotions, like going to the gym, talking to a friend, listening to music, praying, journaling, exploiting some type of hobby that you have. Whatever outlet you find is comforting and soothing in these moments of intense emotions. You also may want to plan what you'll do or what you'll say to get the results you desire. Try visualizing and literally practicing how you want to handle the situation before re-engaging. And then finally, strike. Re-engage and implement your plan. As you do this, you'll find that over time you may need to take less space, and you may actually be able to effectively implement your strategies within the moment. You may actually find that you have to take another step back and readdress your strategy a little bit. No one is perfect, and most likely you'll always run into some type of situation where you may need to pull away and recollect yourself. But with this intentional approach, you will no doubt see improvement. Emotional intelligence benefits you both in the short term and long term. It will improve your day-to-day experiences, strengthen your relationships with yourself and others, improves your mental and physical health, while providing you with a level of self-control that will improve your decision-making and giving you the advantage to live the life that you desire. Now, do me a favor and share your thoughts and insights in the comments below. I would really love to learn from your experiences and your knowledge as well to increase my understanding of emotional intelligence. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button before you move on. That way we can continue to grow and get valuable personal development information and encourage each other on living a victorious life together. Now go take advantage of all the opportunity life gives you to grow and have a victorious day. Peace.